Thank you, NFL. In this trying time, without any sports going on, the NFL still comes through, putting themselves at the top of the headlines and giving us something to talk about in the sports world. The free agency period begins today, the recording day, March 18th at 4 p.m., and a lot of deals have already gone down. A lot of agreements of high-profile players have already been put into place. So let's talk about them. Let's get some reactions. Let's talk sports. Starting it off is the headline of the headlines, and that is Tom Brady going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for 2 years. What? Tampa Bay, Tom? Really? Don't get me wrong, the weather's going to be so much nicer living in Florida rather than Massachusetts. But there's also a place in California called LA where the weather is perfect all year round, and their football team has a ton of offensive weapons in Hunter Henry, Austin Eckler, Melvin Gordon, Keenan Allen, and Mike Williams, just to name a few. Granted, their offensive line is not great, so Tom Brady having to get away from pass rushers probably isn't the best idea for him. And they do have to play the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes twice a year, so that's going to be tough. Tampa Bay, meanwhile, has Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, arguably the best 1-2 wide receiver punch in football. And they get to play the Panthers and the Falcons twice a year when nobody really knows what's going on with either of those teams right now. Maybe this actually is not a bad idea after all for Tom Brady. He's going to have some offensive weapons around him. He's going to be in beautiful Florida where the weather is going to be very nice for him to play and relax, and his family can come down and enjoy Florida. He's going to be in a weaker division aside from the New Orleans Saints, and he's going to be in the NFC where teams are not used to game planning for Tom Brady like all of the AFC teams have been doing so for the last 100 years, it feels like. Tom Brady, NFC South, going to be throwing the football around to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Look out, Tampa Bay Buccaneers should be a pretty fun team. Sorry, Jameis Winston, you may be one of the most exciting players to watch because we never know if you're going to throw a touchdown or a pick, and you keep it on our toes, and from a fantasy perspective, you love and hate having him on your team. But this is Tom Brady's team now. Good luck to you, Winston, in the future finding a team. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, certainly a team to watch out for in 2020. Since we're already talking about a QB, let's go around through the other QBs and talk about the QB shuffle that went around here in these past few days. The other old man, Drew Brees, gets another paycheck. 2 years, $50 million, final 2 chances to win another Super Bowl for Drew Brees. The Tennessee Titans made a bold statement by saying they didn't want Tom Brady and instead trust and re-signed Ryan Tannehill. They also got rid of their backup QB that they benched last year in Marcus Mariota. Mariota is headed to Las Vegas to compete with Derek Carr for the job for the Raiders. Panthers added Teddy Bridgewater, and thus Cam Newton is on the market for a trade. He does not want to be in Carolina anymore. The Colts signed Phillip Rivers to a 1-year deal, a show-me-what-you-got, do you have anything left in you type deal for the Colts and for Phillip Rivers. Going from one of the worst offensive lines to one of the best offensive lines, we'll see what Rivers has in store for us in 2020. Kirk Cousins is sticking around with the Vikings as he signed a 2-year extension. And former Viking Case Keenum is now headed to the Browns. Expected to act as a backup to Baker Mayfield, but after Mayfield's performance last year, wouldn't be surprised if Case Keenum steps up as the gunslinger for the Cleveland Browns next season. And last but not least, Nick Foles, the Philadelphia Savior, Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP. He is now with the Chicago Bears as they traded for Nick Foles for a 4th-round compensatory pick. Nick Foles could be the Bears quarterback, as Mitchell Trubisky has had his ups and downs, to say the least, so far in the NFL. Going to see a lot of new faces underneath a lot of new helmets and colors here in 2020. Not really sure how to react to all these different moves for the quarterbacks. I think the Colts are definitely better off having Phillip Rivers instead of Jacoby Brissett or somebody else. Not really sure that the Bears had to go get Nick Foles. I don't know how much of an upgrade that is going to be from them going from Mitchell Trubisky to Nick Foles. Love Nick Foles, obviously, Eagles fan. Always has a place in my heart. But as far as being a starting quarterback anywhere else except for Philly, not sure he's going to really be able to make it. Good luck, Titans, with Ryan Tannehill. He had an awesome season for you last year, but did you overpay him? Is he really worth it? I don't know. Definitely a better option than Marcus Mariota. Probably not as good of an option as if you could have got Tom Brady, but hey, you're going with Tannehill. That means he's earned your trust and he's going to trust you back, and that goes a long way. I think he'll be fine. I think the Titans should be good again. They could be another playoff team as long as their defense stays healthy and Derrick Henry can be somewhat the same as he was this past season, and Tannehill is able to be average at best. Titans should be alright with Tannehill. Vikings were Super Bowl contenders with Kirk Cousins, if we're being honest, so hey, might as well keep him around. Carolina and Las Vegas, not really sure what you're doing. Teddy Bridgewater taking the reins for the Panthers. Great, you won't have a lot of turnovers, but you may not have a lot of passing yards either. And out in Vegas, you're going to have your competition between Mariota and Derek Carr. Awesome, a battle of mediocrity out west. I started to like the Raiders last season with what I was seeing, especially with Josh Jacobs there at running back. Not really sure how I'm feeling about this move of picking up Mariota. We'll see what Gruden can do. He's supposed to be a quarterback wizard. Maybe he can make one of them work. And now, how about the trade that makes absolutely no sense for the NFL community, but if you are an Arizona Cardinal fan, you are singing to the Lord and heavens up above because you just got a top 3 wide receiver in football that is under contract for 3 years, and all you had to give up was a running back who used to be the best running back for one season 3 years ago, and you had to give up a second-round pick. Meanwhile, you'll be swapping fourth-round picks next year. What? I'm just not sure what type of a trade this was. Somebody made the best analogy that it was a fantasy football trade where one guy's trying to win it all and the other guy is like, I've kind of given up on my season. I might as well help my buddy out. And he trades a great wide receiver for an average at best running back.
All I see are lies and collusion.
I mean, Texans, come on. What are you doing? As far as Texas teams are concerned, you are high and above the best team in Texas for sure. But this deal just makes absolutely no sense. They said Hopkins wanted a bigger deal, and they weren't going to give him a bigger deal, and so they might as well trade him. But, come on. He's one of the best wide receivers in football, and this is a pass-throwing wide receiver league. You want to keep those guys happy. You don't need a running back. Running backs aren't making that much money. Why? Because you're able to pull running backs off the street, hand them the football, and they can be productive. It's just how the game is right now. And then you hear the stories that Bill O'Brien doesn't like DeAndre Hopkins' personality and stuff that he does outside of football. DeAndre Hopkins says that it's not that big a deal, that him and Bill O'Brien still have a great relationship. The thing that makes your head turn if you're an Eagles fan is that this reminds you so much of Chip Kelly. He had the power to trade and sign players just like Bill O'Brien does for the Texans, and you just see it doesn't work out. All your star players are going out the window, and you're not getting anything good back in return. This type of a trade gets me so upset, and I'm not even an AFC fan. I'm not a Texans fan. Cardinals are out in the NFC West. Eagles barely play them. They play them like once every 3 or 4 years or something like that. So I shouldn't really care, but this type of a trade is just not a good trade. But hey, it was a trade. One side had to say, I think this is a good trade. The other side had to say, yes, I think this is a good trade for me as well. And they both accepted it and agreed. So if the two sides think that they're better off making this deal, you just got to shake your head and say, okay, whatever you think. Maybe you know something more than I don't. Kind of hope that Bill O'Brien can see into the future and see that DeAndre Hopkins is going to regress, or maybe that the wide receiver position isn't going to be as important this season or next season. Don't really see that happening, but hey, maybe he does know something that I don't. I think it's a terrible trade, and congratulations to the Cardinals. You're going to be able to battle up there with the 49ers and the Seahawks next season, provided that Kyler Murray takes another step up in his growth here in his second season. And lastly, let's wrap these things up with a quick rapid-fire round of headlines and then my reaction. Yes, whatever, not really caring that much, or ooh, bad move. Amari Cooper signs a 5-year, $100 million deal with the Cowboys. Great move for Amari Cooper. Middle-of-the-pack deal for the Cowboys. Are they playing mediocre teams or really, really good teams? If they're playing really good teams, bad move, paying that man way too much money. Jalen Mills signs a 1-year deal with the Eagles, and Rodney McLeod signs a 2-year deal with the Eagles. Two good moves. You let Malcolm Jenkins go, so you got to bring back one of your best corners and your other great safety. Malcolm Jenkins expected to sign with the Saints. Really good move for the Saints. Get a great leader. Bad move for the Eagles. Why'd you let him go? Bills acquire Stephon Diggs for a 1st, 5th, and 6th rounder this year and a 4th rounder next year. Great move for the Bills. You get a really good wide receiver to pair up with Josh Allen, give you a little bit more versatility on offense in your quest for an AFC East title. Middle of the pack move for the Vikings. You got a lot back with all those picks, but Stephon Diggs was the powerhouse of your wide receiving core. Dolphins sign Jordan Howard to a 2-year deal, and they add cornerback Byron Jones. Thumbs up for Jordan Howard, thumbs up for Byron Jones. That's it. The Browns land Austin Hooper from Atlanta for 4 years, $42 million, making him the highest paid tight end in football. Great move for the name, middle of the pack move for the amount of money that you gave him, and middle of the pack move overall. Depends how your quarterback does. If you don't have a quarterback to throw it to him, it's not going to matter. Raiders add linebacker Corey Littleton, and they sign Jason Witten. Middle of the pack move with Corey Littleton. He's a really good linebacker, though. Should be able to help them out defensively. Bad move for Jason Witten. He's a washed-up tight end that has only played in Dallas. How do you know he's even going to be able to play with you out in Las Vegas? Eagles sign defensive tackle Javon Hargrave. 2 thumbs up on this move, and a yes sir from Westbrook, the unofficial mascot here of the Word on Sports. Pairing Fletcher Cox and Jason Hargrave is going to be a dynamic defensive line for the Eagles next season. So thank you, NFL, for making this video possible by having these free agent deals and these trades happen and saving us from this world of no sports and making this war on sports possible. I'll be keeping track of the sports world and trying to provide some different videos here in the future. We may have some of my personal favorites, maybe a top 5 list of favorite movies or favorite sports games I've attended, favorite teams, what have you. We'll figure it out. We'll have some more content for you. Be on the lookout because those MLB previews are definitely going to be coming. I'm just taking a holdback on those because if the season's only going to be 100 games long, that might change my predictions up a little bit. So I don't want to jump the gun with my full season predictions if the season ends up getting shortened. But we will certainly have those for you once we know more about this coronavirus settling down and the MLB season starting up. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with all your friends, family, and throw it all over social media for me. I appreciate all the love and support that I do get. Let's talk sports as much as we can, even though most of us are being quarantined. Perfect time to talk. We're stuck in front of a computer. Might as well chat with each other online. Keep your head up as we are going to experience some more short-term losses here. Life without sports sucks. This whole quarantine issue and dealing with the coronavirus is not a pleasant situation, but keep your heads up high. This is only going to be a short-term situation. A month, 2 months, I'm thinking. I think NBA will be back at the end of April. I think MLB will start up right in the middle of May. These are my positive, optimistic points of view for this whole disease and this whole aspect. So just keep your head up. Yes, this time does suck. There's no way around it. But let's make the most of it. Let's do some things inside that we can do. Work on some personal projects, work on some personal goals, talk sports with Dan Ward, watch the Ward on Sports. Those are all great ideas for things you can do while in quarantine. Until next time, I'm Dan Ward. This is Westbrook, and I will talk to you guys later.